Directors and officers are usually for nonprofits and nonprofits and corporations. And of course, business identity theft, which is what I was talking about. That is our weakest. This is where our employees get us the most. So, moving forward. Business interruption. I'm going to skip general liability because you know that covers you against lawsuits. Business interruption. Insurance is designed to help both the situation, the business income coverage, which you mentioned, for the loss of income and paying continuing expenses of operations that cease. The extra expense is for that substitute location. Now you must have in your business plan where you're going to go if something happens. That has to be written out. You have to have an idea of what the cost is, because at the time of a disaster, that's what the adjuster is going to be asking you for. Okay, so you can't run your business out of here. Where are you going to go? How much is it going to be? What is the difference? Otherwise, how are they going to pay you for that expense? If you don't know that, they're not going to be able to pay you for that expense. And at that moment, when you're all chaotic with all these issues, you're not going to be like, I don't know where to go. Where am I going to go? You're going to forget that there's shared office that you can use, or a friend's office. Okay. In a lot of these things, you need a CPA to get involved. And the reason you need that is because you need to project future expenses and income. And you might, how am I going to do that? Well, a CPA can look at your history and then kind of predict of what it is that's going to come, plus the inflation cost that you're going to have. The average claim takes about 9 months. So if there's a fire in the building, usually it takes about 9 months between the permits, the adjuster coming out takes between 1 to 2 days, then getting the appraisals done, getting a contractor to come out, getting permits, getting the city to come and inspect. By the time you're done and debris removal and all that good stuff is about 9 months. So, but most of business owners, when they get insurance, they get it for 3 months. Now, have you ever had a loss? Does it take 3 months? Does it take 3 months? It's never going to take 3 months. There's no way to get all that done in 3 months, unless it's a small claim. So when you're reviewing your insurance policies, you must go over your business income and make sure that it is covered for at least 1 year. The difference in cost is very minimal, maybe $200 to $300 a year. It's just worth it. Okay, so extra expense. You will need to determine the extraordinary cost, because we talked about that. Dependent property. We talked about this a little bit with the restaurants, and let me think of grocery stores also might need that, where they buy their supplies from a certain vendor, and that vendor has a problem, and that's the best negotiated supplies that they can get from, and how do they restore them? How do they make up that money? They're going to have losses. So let's say they were getting their tilapia for 50 cents, and now it's going to cost them $1.50, where you can actually make a claim on that. And utilities, we talked about the disruption of utilities, which was the #1 cost of many businesses when the Hurricane Sandy occurred.
Hurricane Sandy, with that, what I found was that they said because it was a widespread,
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't cover it, even though, because it was the pole on the street, not the power to our building.
Okay. So they said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
I had bought an endorsement that covered the utility. And I made sure, well, not me, one of my agents, made sure that not only we had the utility coverage, but it had it an extended time. And it would, not only it would cover that pole, but where the surge came from, where the main power is at. So that is an option that you can purchase. Now, the standard policy might have a little bit of, business interruption and business income, and they don't have utility. And if they do, they have a $2,500 is usually the standard. But if your deductible is $1,000 and you're closed for 2 weeks, right, you're in trouble. Now, if your business is out of your home, this is a bigger problem, because many of this stuff is not, you don't have that option on your homeowner's insurance. So worrying about the dependent property coverage, maybe for us that we're in the service business, we don't need it. But for those that are in other businesses that depend on other locations or vendors, they need it the most. I mean, we can go to Staples, or we can go to Quill, we can go to Office Max. You know, we have a lot of options, and they're all about the same price. So, you had a loss in the building, and the loss was caused by you, and now the landlord says to you, "Hey, we don't want you anymore. Your business caused the loss," and you had negotiated a really good lease. You had a 10-year lease and with increments of every 2 years, and it was such a good lease. And now for you to move, it's going to cost you tons of money because that option is no longer there. So you definitely want to make sure that you have leasehold interest coverage because they can terminate you at any time, especially if you caused the fire or the loss. So right here in the business income, when I suggested to please go over at least a year, you're able to buy additional time frame. So your building has been restored, everything is great, you can't move in because there's no CO. But everything is done. Automatically, you can call the insurance company and say, "Hey, I can't get in yet. So I still have business interruption. I need income for another 30 days." And they will give it to you automatically. But if it takes more than 30 days, there's no coverage. You can buy extended time, up to 730 days. Okay, earthquake is not covered in any of the policies. You must request it, or your agent must offer it. And that is offered, not only you will get the coverage of the earthquake, but the aftershock. And in this one, you better have a relocation because the land is not going to get glued back together. It's not going to happen. So be careful with the deductibles. When you're buying insurance, the biggest issue that people have is that they don't pay attention to deductibles. The hurricane thing that Chris Christie did, he says, "Oh, okay, we're going to change it from a hurricane to a storm." And he was able to do it because of some, it wasn't as windy and I don't know, something with that world that I don't understand. And he was able to switch it to a storm. And now the insurance company got stuck paying thousands of dollars extra that they didn't have to. They would have had, the people would have huge deductibles, like 3%. So the average home would have had a deductible of $25,000. Now, not many people have $25,000 laying around. So with that being said, I urge you to pay attention to deductibles on your insurance policies. Okay, so time is enemy. If you do not prepare yourself for the claims, and we're going to go what you should be getting ready before the claim occurs, 1 out of 5 businesses will be out of business within the first 5 years because they didn't make enough claims of the monies that they needed to sustain themselves through that time. So they start to get loans, or they don't have money to come back to business, and they don't make it. According to the IHS Global Insight, they said that 25, I believe, is billion. I've never had that much money, so I don't know. $25 billion in loss of business activity in the Storm Sandy. And 8,100,000 homes lost their power. And so you're saying, so what? We're talking about business. Well, 40 million Americans run their businesses out of their home. 40 million. I can guarantee you that more than 50% do not have business insurance, if not more. Because we're thinking, it's just a desk, a computer, I don't have much. It's not the computer, it's all the programs you have in there. It's all the data you have in there. That's the value, right? It's not the fancy desk, but what you do there. So what we found, what I wanted to make sure that you know is that the homeowner's insurance policy, the maximum coverage for business equipment is $2,500. So how many of you have a Mac? that costs about $2,500, right? There it goes. That's it. You don't got nothing else. All the programs, they're gone. You're not going to get any coverage on that. And then the $500 equipment away from premises. So if you have your Mac on vacation and you're working, you're going to get a nice $500 check. Congratulations. Try to get another Mac with that. So before I continue, tell me, any questions? It does cover laptops as far as equipment, but not on homeowners. Business insurance. Your homeowners only covers this $2,500 and $500 and out of sight, out of location, out of premises. So you have no business income, no business interruption. You have nothing, no general liability. If I sued you, I won't, but if I sued you, you gave me an advice and it was wrong and I sued you, your homeowners is not going to pay me at all. So you're taking on the hit yourself. That's a big risk. So I heard author, IT, but you have an office, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For those that are home, what do you do out of your home? Consulting. Anybody out of the home?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. But you have the senior care.
Yeah.
Does your staff comes in?
Not to my home.
No. Okay.
We have a virtual space that we use.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm sure you have a lot of insurance because your business is high risk to the top.
Yeah.
Seniors and children are like really risky. I mean, when you're dealing with both, they're very risky. I mean, they can say stories that are true or not true. So for those that are home, you have to have a business insurance policy. Now, what we recommend for smaller business is a BOP, which gives you a little bit of everything, but still look at the limits and the deductibles and the time frame because your business supports you. And I don't know what kind of lifestyle you have, but I'm sure you have if you have a home, you have a mortgage, right? You have car payments. You want to go on vacation, at least to the shore. All that stuff. Our kids like to take violin and swimming and soccer and football and God knows what else. They take every class that possible. So let's move forward. Okay, processing a claim. The first thing you want to do is call your insurance company. You want to let them know that there was something that happened. Why? The faster you let them know, the faster the adjuster will be there. Time is of the essence. You want to make sure that the insurance company gets to you quickly. But you also have to do your due diligence. You have to shut off electricity, the water, the natural heat, secure the property, the windows and the doors if it's not livable. And repair anything that needs to be repaired. If there's a gas leak or something like that, you need to take care of it right away. You cannot not ignore it. Oh, there's a fire, I don't know, I'm going to step back, I'm not doing anything. No, you have to make sure that everything is taken care of because that's what the insurance company is going to expect from you. If you don't, they will not pay you. If they feel that you did not put your part in it, they'll deduct that and say, oh no, you took too long to do this, you took too long to do that, and they start deducting. Yes?
I was just going to say, I had a similar ice damming problem, and they asked me for, have you done any maintenance at all on the roof? And about 6 years previously, I'd had a guy come in, and it was a 150-year-old slate roof. He's like, there's really not much I can do to this roof. He had done a little bit where I thought the leak might be. That's all they needed was that little receipt. It was like $120. It was 6 years old. So anything I do to the house, I learned to keep a receipt because it proves that you've done maintenance work along the line.
Oh, yes. We had a church give us a call because the roof collapsed. The insurance company didn't pay anything, zero. They had not done any work at all in 10 years.
The gutters, you see the receipt for the gutters because it shows that you're doing your part.
Your part, exactly. Thank you.